怒りを叫べ悲しみを叫べ魂を叫べ今ここで叫べ
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Yokai Delinquents podcast. I am Sean, bearded Capitalitin.
And I am Jerry Robo Tengu Smith, and for the first time ever in an episode, this is going to be a special, so just forewarning with that. And there will be spoilers in it. But for the first time ever, we have two guests on our episode today.
That's true.
Though we are very limited in time, you guys are going to have to introduce yourselves at the same time, so at the count of three, go for it. 3, 2, 1, go.
I am Jonathan Comedius Hook.
Stephanie just looked at me and she was like, "I'm not doing that."
Well, first of all, you introduced yourself as a Sith, not a Smith, so I knew that your plan was going to be nefarious.
Bumpy start, but with the source material that we're going into.
But yes,
I didn't want to be rude. I wanted John to.
Well, that's probably fine. Our listeners should recognize the one and only Oni Pony. That is Stephanie Strong.
That's me. You know what? I have regrets about that name.
Like real talk, I'll as you should.
So, the thing that brings us here today is, we've talked about some isekai in the past.
Oh yeah,
and some of our favorite isekai. So we, of course, got a new isekai movie that launched last year. Sean, tell them about this movie that we're going to talk about.
Well, we had previously discussed about it coming out because we are fans of a particular video game franchise known as Monster Hunter. So today, I think literally within today and last night, we all watched this movie.
Yeah, and, within at least the last 48 hours.
Very fresh the brain.
That we decided to check it out, and because, well, I know I went on a tirade myself about just like what I wasn't looking forward to and my concerns about the film, and now I'm here with you good people to share it with all the other good people out there listening.
And we're actually happy to announce that they did everything that we were hoping they would do, and nothing that they shouldn't have done, and it was a great film.
Right, I think that's a good point. I think I want to hear what you all think, like what you, without seeing it, what would you expect or want to see in a Monster Hunter
That's
movie?
in our third episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Go back and listen to our third episode and be like,
"Oh, well, you haven't released it yet."
Yeah, we did.
The monster. Oh, yeah.
Gotcha,
yeah. We talked about it as it was like upcoming and all that. So we discussed like based on trailer and all that what we were expecting to see.
Summarize that.
Yeah. Basically, a lot of fears of the isekai part. And not a big fan of the whole military and the portal from our world to their world setup. And but again, we always said, like, based on a trailer, we don't know how well it'll be executed until we actually see the final product. So that is what we are here to discuss. This was released, as you said, last year in 2020, starring Mila Jovovich, directed by W.S. Anderson. I believe it's her husband in real life, as well as starring Tony Jaa of many martial art movies from Thailand, The Protector.
I knew you'd be stoked about him.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And basically, like, we've talked about the plot before.
And Ron Perlman wears a really shitty wig in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman is in it as well. And we'll get into that. Y'all, I got some pictures showing up here on the screen that our YouTube listeners will be able to check out and enjoy. But long story short, because the plot is Mila Jovovich and her military unit are warped into the world of Monster Hunter through a desert storm with some artifacts that are just randomly in the desert. Gets warped in and has to hunt monsters for her survival as well as to return home. About as plot heavy as any Monster Hunter game. It is an action movie, 100%. So Okay, so first off, let's just go ahead and get it out with all four of us. We'll go down the line, starting with our guests and ladies first because I'm a male chauvinist pig. Stephanie liked it, didn't like it.
That's the opposite of a chauvinist, or is it? Or maybe it is. I don't know.
I don't know anymore. I'm an old man. I just assume I just always assume I'm insulting people at this
Sean
point.
has his own definition of.
Sean knows that I'm like itching to say shit anyway. So.
Well, we're gonna get into detail. Let's just kind of go down the line so we all know where everyone's standing. Stephanie, did you like it or did you not like the movie?
Oh gosh, that's such a loaded question. I love the battles. If you had not told me this was a Monster Hunter movie, I would have maybe not known it was a Monster Hunter movie. It just, that's kind of why I posed the question of what would you expect to see in a Monster Hunter movie? Because I think about the things that I like and enjoy about the game, and it's the gradual meeting the the smaller monsters and then slowly getting into the bigger monsters and lots of different weapons and armor and making those weapons and armors from the monsters. So I think in essence, it didn't super feel like the Monster Hunter video game, and maybe it doesn't have to, but there were epic monster battles and they tossed them right into Diablos, which I haven't even personally fought yet. I don't even know.
So you say you're
that was
down the middle of the road on it.
Yeah, that was kind of extreme, but I didn't hate it. It was neat. It was, there were lots of things I liked about it. I liked that they showed the breakage of the horn, because that's kind of a key part of Monster Hunter is breaking different parts of monsters and stuff like that. So I felt like they were in there, but I mean, we saw very few weapons, and I wanted to see more weapons. I wanted to see more armor, and I wanted to see more monsters. There was 3, 4 types of monsters, maybe?
There was 4.
4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay.
5 at 5 at the end.
But, John.
Okay. Well,
John,
yeah.
What did you think?
I think I'm about to say about middle of the road. I went in with incredibly low expectations, and I thought it was actually, somewhat decent. It could have went a little bit different. I would have liked it to be a little bit different, have a different focus, but overall, it was all right.
Right. Well, we got 2 middle of the roads there. All right, Jerry.
Man, so listen, when they opened up with that scene and they're on the fucking sand ship and getting attacked by the Diablos, that gave me such high hopes for this movie. And then they spent it almost felt like 2/3 of the movie in the fucking desert dealing with this issue.
That almost had nothing to do with it. That ship. You don't even see that.
Yeah. So that was a real pain. And then Steph mentioned with the horn.
Yeah.
But then it was we're not going to bring this horn back, because I was like, oh, they're going to take the horn and they're going to use it to make a weapon or something. And that didn't happen.
They did take the spider stinger
thingy.
I don't know what they're called.
Yeah.
What are
Nursilla.
Yeah.
So, and then it was essentially you and I, Sean, had talked about before, where it's oh, I sure hope everything that they show in the trailer isn't all that's in the trailer, such as all the monsters. We hope that there's more monsters, and guess what? From the exception of the I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil it. The monster that they showed at the end. Holy crap! I just completely lost its name.
The Gormagala.
Gormagala. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Which it was it was literally why did you bring that in as your surprise villain monster? And what pissed me off even more is the whole movie. I was God, are we gonna see anything other than dual blades? Whatever. I guess it was supposed to be the switch axe that Ron Perlman had. I think somebody that didn't do anything had a longsword, and then Tony Jaa's Hunter character had the bow.
They didn't sleep or trap anything.
They did sleep. They slept the Diablos.
All right.
No, not technically.
But I will and then it just kind of disappointed me, because at the very end, when the Gormagala popped up, they brought out 2 different weapons, and it's where were these the whole movie?
But don't you fight the Gormagala before Diablos?
I mean,
isn't Diablos
game. It depends on the game.
It does.
Depends on the game.
I've only played yeah, I guess to set listener expectations, I played Monster Hunter Tri and Generations Ultimate.
Right.
Those are the only two that I've played.
And the Rise demo.
And I have not.
In the Rise.
And the Rise
counts.
demo, which
it
had
counts. Give you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Game. Okay.
no new monsters, but
right,
yeah.
Sean.
So I don't
Sean,
really know.
Sean, what do you got?
All right. So anyone who listened to the episode where we discussed this knows I was probably the most vocal about this trailer. And certain things about it, yeah, still not crazy about the isekai. I don't care about the military unit, which luckily got fucking taken out really quick. So not a big deal.
Oh.
AKA respect. Rest in peace, poor Link with the spider eggs on his body. That gave me a legit shudder.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Sean's gonna love this.
Wait, how
I
do
thought
you
the
not?
same thing.
How do you not know that you have actual fucking spider eggs on your rib cage?
I mean, who here in
Like-
this room in this discussional room here could honestly say you've had that feeling of spider eggs laying in your body? That's a new sensation. This is a new world. I'm gonna give him a little leeway
I would
on
be
that.
curious about it. I would be
Yeah,
like,
he
whoa,
was too.
my.
And he lifted his shirt and realized he was dead. I'll tell you this. Okay, I'll go ahead and preface all this before I start getting into my argument.
Right.
Sounds like from everybody, I like this the best.
Okay.
I
Interesting.
legitimately enjoyed this film. Now, that's because, like I said, I wasn't excited about the military, still wasn't excited about the military, but when you already know what you're mad about is going to happen, I guess you can kind of just wait for it to be over and go with it. The minute I saw Toho as a producer, I knew these monsters were going to be done right. Because that is, for those who
I
don't know,
noted that too.
Toho is...
Yeah.
That's one of the things I'd love.
Yeah. Like, Toho, for those who may not know listening, is the company that has produced the Godzilla films. So they know they're giant monsters. Now, yes, pacing and more monsters would have been a bit of an improvement, sure. But what we did get, as Jerry said, the ship, that was giving me my Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate flashbacks, which was my starter Monster Hunter game that I really dived into. I really dug that. Diablos, I fucking hate hunting Diablos. Any kind of version of it. So I feel the anger and the threat of this damn thing. So I'm okay with that. Would I have loved to have seen I don't even know the name of the giant worm thing you actually battle on the ship? That would have been kind of cool. But, you know, going by what we have out here, like, right off the bat, yes, I love Ron Perlman. Anything he does, I'm happy with, even in a terrible way. He looked like shit in this movie, but he
did look real rough.
It was
Yeah,
rough, but
for sure.
literally everyone else in that crew, I popped for the handler.
Do you think he just they were like they're on the set filming and they were like, oh wait, we need one other person. Fucking call Ron Perlman to see if he can make it. Is he awake? And he was like hungover and was like, yeah, I'll be there, and like just like showed
Or
up.
the monster you were thinking of was the Darwin Morin that you fight on.
There we go. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yes, I was expecting that too, and
I
that
don't know
was
what
the
that
carcass that they had.
That's what I was
bones.
thinking.
That was the really big one?
Giant ribs, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I asked about that because I was like, well, if Diablos is the big bad in this fucking sand world, what the heck is that?
Yeah, it's even bigger.
Yeah.
Better.
But I mean, like,
Okay.
besides Perlman, though, like everyone else in that crew, the handler looked straight out the game. I was so happy when she had her goggles, the green poncho. She looked the part. Even the hunter with the longsword that did nothing, as you said, he was even in the opening world. He's one of the guys you first meet in the meeting area. He looks just like it. Tony Jaa looked like he was right out of Monster Hunter with some. Don't get it wrong, yeah, we
He
were getting
did.
into.
Yeah.
He really looked the part. I loved that they did a bow user because I'm so intimidated by that because I've tried in training to do that and I just cannot range these things. I just have to melee them. So mad respect to anyone that uses a bow in these Monster Hunter games. I liked that they did a little Palico show.
We did get the reveal of the buff Palico too, which I believe is
Yes.
from World. I think he was.
Yeah.
A lot of World in this game.
Oh, that one's specifically from World.
Yeah,
That Palico
'cause
show.
every
Okay.
game
I
has
think a lot of
different
what they
shows.
pulled from. I think a lot of what they pulled from because the handler I think was from World and the slinger was from World.
Yeah, all that was from World.
But I did
I don't know anything about that.
a quick study of just like everything we saw weapon wise. So we did get obviously the dual blades. We got great swords of varying size. Wasn't crazy about that, but they did have great swords. The bow, Tony Jaa was rocking at the very end battle. He actually had the insect glaive on his back as well. Sword and shield,
Yeah.
long sword, and I believe Ron Perlman was using the charge axe. I think was.
Oh wait, who had shield?
The switch axe.
Switch axe or
charge
charge blade or maybe I
I
can't
think it
remember.
was
The switch axe.
Yeah, I think
Switch
it was the
axe.
switch axe because that went
Yeah.
from axe to blade form
Yeah.
and the,
One,
the charge blade with the
I
sword
was
and shield.
Right.
I was sad we never actually got to see him transition it
Yeah,
though.
and he was shooting fire. Like,
Yeah. At first,
Yeah.
I thought he had a hammer at first because he was doing like the circular spin thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
it clearly
Yeah.
was an axe. Stephanie, one of the random hunters that did nothing got taken out
Mm,
by the Rathalos had a sword. And
gotcha.
shield.
And
So-
they showed
so-
that mini training montage with Mila, where
Yep.
she like did like a combo and like charged up, but
Yeah.
she never used that.
I think she used it.
No.
on the
She did use
Rathalos at the
She did
end.
use other Rathalos.
Did
Yeah,
she?
near the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so here's my thing. Like they gave me enough because, like I've said, I expect differences in any adaptation, and my biggest
right.
complaint is when changes feel unnecessary. Which again, the military, like we said in the previous one, I always felt like Mila's story could have been told as someone from another village, an inexperienced hunter whose entire team got wiped out and got taken in by Tony Jaa or had to be helped with Tony Jaa, instead of having to be from our world. But for what
Yeah.
it was, the isekai set up the whole thing. I enjoyed Tony Jaa and Mila Jovovich, even with their limited communication. I actually really liked their dynamic together. And a special little thing I really remember liking too, with the bow and arrow, how they kind of explained how explosive arrows work with him
right.
hitting the flint and tinder on his finger. That was creative use of it to kind of explain how your random ammo just works in Monster Hunter. Because obviously we just have your specific ammo. I think there was a lot of creativity in this, and that's it. This is all the Monster Hunter side. Like I'm just completely like I've acknowledged I don't like the military, and most of that team got taken out pretty quickly. And yeah, I did say like fucking noob hunters leaving the Diablo's Horn. I thought about that too. But yeah, like fighting the Nersillas and using their crafting a little bit, some sleeping as a sleep bomb user myself. I appreciate they were using sleep tactics.
Right.
And
I guess I feel like they needed to add in to the military if they were going to do any kind of isekai, because it needed to be people that had combat experience.
For
so
sure,
maybe that's
for
why
sure.
they were like, well, it makes
Yeah.
sense that it's a military, like they know what to do. They have like
Listen,
desert.
man. When my dude got isekai'd into the Warriors of Virtue world and had no combat training,
like,
and had to learn those elements, like. No, sorry.
that was.
I'm trying to see how many Warriors of Virtue references I can make during this.
Okay, well that's one. So
Alright.
we could
And,
probably
I
stop
made
there.
one earlier on.
Okay, that's two.
Did anyone else pop when I can never remember the little things that popped out the water during the watering hole area.
Oh, the Cephalos.
Yeah, he's cooking the meat.
Oh.
He was cooking the meat. We got the meat. We got meat cooking on the grill.
Mhm.
Turning in a
I was
circle.
very
I popped for
excited.
it.
See,
Yeah.
that's the kind
Yeah,
of
with the
that's the
fire
kind of
spit.
stuff that I see, but I wanted them to play the song.
Yeah, I was
That
disappointed.
would've
There was
been-
no song, and no one said tasty.
Right.
Tasty.
That would have been
yeah.
amazing. But I had
Did
to
she
give.
wait? Did she say it was tasty? She didn't,
No,
did she?
no, I was waiting
No,
for it.
John was
that
looking
would
up.
have been.
Okay.
That would have made it.
Maybe he said it and we don't know.
Something that I was hoping that they would have done, that I thought that they might have done for a second there, is at one point there were 4 soldiers left, and I was like, oh, well, what if they just take the 4 soldiers that are left and do like a full hunting party or whatever? And then it was like,
right.
oh no, we're not going that route with it. But like, man, they could have wrapped up the whole desert scene a lot quicker and gotten us actually to that jungle area. And I feel like it would have been better to have to wrap up this Diablos thing without her all of a sudden being like, I've learned how to use these dual blades all of a sudden, which she didn't even really use until the very end, which was kind of interesting because they did that training thing and then they got to the Diablos and then she just ran straight for the big gun.
Which it made no sense to me. Anyway, they were both banking on everything
Yeah.
of her getting to this gun
Yeah,
that
it
they knew didn't work.
It was
On
Yeah,
there
exactly.
were some weird plot inconsistent. Like she should have been the bait since he had the sleep arrow.
Literally, why was he ever the
So-
bait?
so
He's
that
way
was-
better than her at
That was-
everything.
that was strange. But like, I don't know. I just really wish they would have gotten to the forest sooner, and because I would have liked to see a little more of like the mechanics for it. Like maybe even rush the desert part and have her go on like a hunt, like with Tony Jaa, just to kind of get her like used to or get her prepared for what they're gonna do and stuff. Because that's like the funnest thing about it is to build your gear. So like, if she would have like gotten to this point where she was, like actually a little more experienced at hunting, it would have been a little bit more believable. And then they like went out there with like a party of like 8 to 10 or something like that, and then just got wiped out. And it seemed like they were really, really set on using the slinger a lot in this too.
Yeah,
I think I would have liked to see them evade Diablos actually at first, and get to the other area and meet up with other people, and then deal with Diablos. I think I would have liked to see them deal with those smaller monsters, level up their gear, and then go back and do Diablos rather than just a sword in its face that he mostly did.
So what y'all wanted is an extra hour of them farming the great Naga.
No, I think I just want to switch. I want part of the movie switch.
Materials.
We have to do the bug hunt. We have to get the berries.
Game to come out. I can't wait for the next Monster Hunter to come out, and then to have a new style that's just solo sword.
Wait, also, hold on. We're not discussing the probably most unbelievable part of the movie, and that's that she had edible chocolate in her pocket
in the desert.
After being in a desert and being inside of the spider. What is it, Terry?
The nurse pillow.
That sack.
Dude,
for who knows how long.
It's Hershey's.
No, that
it's
chocolate
Hershey's.
is not. And that's the thing. This homie that eats seaweed and like roots and stuff would not think that chocolate is good. He would be like, "This is gross. This is too sugary. I hate it. No nutritional value."
Yeah,
unbelievable. The Hershey's chocolate had to be a sponsor, though.
Yeah, I was believing it all until we got to that, and then it brought me right back.
Hashtag Hershey's sponsor us. I'll eat your chocolate. I love it.
But yes, and it was like one of those things, where they're like, I guess it's one of those things where it's easier to do certain things in movies, like bladed weapons, for instance. So that's why we had a bunch of bladed weapons in the bow, right? They're easier to do choreography with and everything.
Yeah.
He could do a lot of like range stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Sean?
Oh, yeah. I think it just the bladed weapons, and you got to keep this in mind. This is even though it has a little bit of the Japanese production behind it with Toho. This is made for an American audience, and they got a lot of the gunplay and that kind of stuff. So ranged weapons weren't going to happen. Plus, out of Monster Hunter's weaponry, bladed weapons really are the bread and butter. And of course, in like traditional action films, that's where you're going to get a lot more of the choreography. It looks a lot cooler, which is also why, like I said, this is a popcorn flick. I feel like if it did well enough to get a sequel, I bet we'll get more monsters next time. It's kind of like with Toho's involvement with Godzilla and these last two movies. There's only a limited amount of monsters they can put in for their budget instead of because I'm assuming.
Yeah, I can't imagine. That must have been expensive.
For sure. I'm
assuming that like in Godzilla, they literally have to pay for every registered copyrighted monster. So they got four with I popped for Gore Magala because that was my first flagship monster. So even though he was only kind of teased at the end, it made me hyped for it. So I'm assuming.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just saying. I'm assuming that was probably an issue of why they couldn't throw in like some of the smaller, big first monsters. They kind of want to get to the big action sequences. Even though, I don't know. Like I said, my personal hatred of Diablos, I didn't mind that being a big pain in the ass because he's always been a pain in the ass for me.
And it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was black Diablos, not regular, right?
Yeah, black.
It had red eyes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's
its eyes were colored. They could have done a little fishing. Right?
In the training montage, like little things like that would have been cool to kind of throw in some of the mundane stuff you have to do in Monster
Maybe
Hunter.
more the crafting. They kind of hinted towards the crafting, which he made like kind of like a potion with the herbs and stuff, but they could have done a little more of that maybe.
Like just a little thing with like him kind of showing her like herbs and mushrooms and stuff like that, and kind of like giving her an idea of what she can combine to, heal and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would have
been
nice.
Kind of neat.
Look, only thing I was gonna say is like, look, they finally showed carving. She carved off a Diablo scale, which is the one you always got to farm to the very end, and use it as a sled to help her boy out. So I mean, like,
I wanted a tail. I wanted a tail carve. I did. I really did.
Yeah.
But maybe that's too much for the first movie.
But yeah, I will say, like, and I said this after I watched the movie, that if nothing else in the movie, like all the weird interactions and stuff, the monsters were done very, very well.
Yeah, Toho did a great job.
To a T, they were exactly how you would imagine them, from the games and everything.
They were terrifying. I feel like they were appropriately sized. Like, some of them were huge, some of them were not.
Right.
I thought that was pretty good.
Like I said, some of the story issues aside, pacing aside on some of the stuff, like you can't, like, I guess, like I said, my biggest complaint about a lot of adaptations, and this is also what I'm kind of grading it on, video game adaptations that aren't like full CG, like, or mainly, CG, like say like a Detective Pikachu or Sonic the Hedgehog. This is arguably one of the better video game translations because much as they changed, the spirit of Monster Hunter is in this film, and I think that's made
it wasn't awkward. Yeah,
I think that's what
it wasn't like. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's what made me forgive a lot of his faults, I think. But yeah, I think okay. So like I said, we're nearing about here 30 minutes. So let's give like a letter grading for everybody. I know a lot of y'all were kind of like middle in there. I give it honestly a B+.
Wait, hold on. What's our full scale? Like, is it
Are we going to
Is it A, B, C, D, F, or are we going to Z, or
No.
what? What's the deal?
I'm sorry. I thought letter grading was our traditional school thing. Yeah, A to F.
But different schools. Different schools do it differently. Some schools literally have like an E.
A, B, C, D, F.
Yeah.
No S or double S. Right?
Or would stars be better, or what, however you want to. How many well done meats do you give it? how many carbs?
out of 5. How many well done meats?
You said B+.
Yeah, so I'm giving it 4. I'm giving it 4 well done meats out of 5.
I'd give it like 3.5.
3.5. Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed all the costumes, and the monsters looked amazing. And I like some of the stuff that they threw in for the lifestyle and stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, I just wish they focused more on an actual village instead of the military coming in from another world, like you were saying.
I agree with that 100%. But I guess like with as low expectations that I had and graded as a video game adaptation, I give it a little bit higher. But no, I feel you on that. Stephanie?
Yeah.
I'll probably never watch it again. So I'm gonna give it. No, it's. I would just rather play the video game.
Okay, yeah,
that's fair.
That's
fine. That's fine.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot for me to want to watch a movie again, and it generally has to be like a stupid fucking movie, unfortunately. But or like tradition, like Christmas or something, But I think it probably like a 2.
2? Okay.
But I wanted more. I understand the fiscal restraints. Like, I understand. That's fine. But I wanted more monsters, and I wanted it to be, having only played, the 2.5 games. 2.25. I just wanted it to feel. I wanted more of that, and I get that they were trying to appeal to a wider audience. But for me, I'll probably never watch it again. But it was okay. 2 is not bad.
Right. More than fair. Jerry?
I'll give it a solid 3. I'm gonna wait for the Snyder cut to really make my decision for it though. But no, 3 because they didn't have all 14 weapons in it. And
both the heavy gun and the light bow gun. We need to have everything.
Tough critic. Critic.
Wow.
They did the insect glaive, damn it.
I mean, they didn't have the insects with it though, so it was null and void.
They didn't have any insects, which is weird.
Yeah, bring me the insect, or it's not an insect. Fuck all y'all.
I did love that they brought in the Gormagala, though. I popped at that scene.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite monsters.
Yeah.
No,
it was. Whenever we first saw it on top of the thing, I was trying to make it out, and I'm like, is that the Gormagala? Is that what we're getting right now?
I was like, they can't be breaking in the Gormagala. I was like,
Right,
really?
right.
I was like,
But
oh,
here's
shit.
the deal. I've beat one of those on my own, so that's not that hard.
It was back in the day, Stephanie. Whenever there was a flagship monster, it was serious business. But yes, I'll give it a solid 3. I really like the monsters. The movie dragged. I wish I would have gotten more monsters. Now that we remembered about the Cephalos, I guess that's 6 monsters total, right?
Wait, what?
Well, that's one of the
Name
small
them.
monsters, sure, and the
Name
and
them.
technically
It
we
was
also had
Nursilla,
Wait, hold on. Jerry's gonna name them. Nursilla.
Nursilla, Black Diablos. We got the Aptonoth or whatever it was called, the herbivore.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
You're right. Mhm.
Yeah, we got the Rathlos, we got the Gormagala, and then we got the Cephalos.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and then I did really love that they had the cooking scene with the fucking.
Oh, that was so
chef.
great. That was like
Yeah,
one of my
yeah,
favorite
amazing.
scenes. It was
Yeah.
so cute, and it
Yeah.
cooked a little thing in that put the little
Yeah. And that was
rosemary on top. That was so
straight
cute.
up. That was straight up some Monster Hunter World shit.
That was.
Yeah, that was straight out of world.
Mhm.
I was
But-
sad that they didn't have more palicos running around in the back.
And then there were gonna be
Yeah.
fences and
Yeah.
stuff, stealing their shit. I thought that he was gonna teach them about cats trying to steal shit from them. You know,
Yeah.
But-
Right.
all
next
right.
movie,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Hey, we'll
Please.
see if it gets a sequel. I know I will. In fact, if theaters are safe and open again by the time we get a sequel, if we get one, I'll go to the theater for it.
Gormagala will return
I
in Monster
joined
Hunter 2.
Right.
Yeah,
Monster Hunter.
And I still, I do wish I saw this in theaters. To be honest, I think that also.
I
would've
do
added a lot
too.
to it.
I was thinking that it would have been a lot
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, having the larger than life monsters in front of you. All right, now I guess we can switch to the WandaVision special. We'll just change tunes here.
And we're gonna tune that in next. No.
next.
All right.
Wait, I
Well,
have things to say about that.
we'll have to save that for another time. Well, John, Stephanie, thank y'all very much for joining us and sharing your thoughts as our fellow Monster Hunter partners in hunting, or however you want to phrase that.
Yes, thank you
Yep.
for having me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And if y'all liked what you have heard, give us a let us know what you thought. Down in the comments below. Were your expectations met? Were they bashed like so many Diablo hunts, or did you happen to actually enjoy it? Give us a like, a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, share the video around. Let your friends know that the Yokai Delinquents podcast is doing a lot of fun stuff with a lot of cool people. But that's gonna do it for today. So we will catch y'all next time.
Peace.
Goodbye.